Hi, this is Peter Godinez, your ambassador with KEDY TV with a version of Good Morning Oxnard, or Wake Up Oxnard, sometimes we put it. But this is the week of Thanksgiving, and our crew here is real thankful in that we have a very special guest. All our guests are special, but I want to say we have Mayor Tim Flynn of Oxnard here, and thanks so much for joining us. I know your schedule is one that you're running every place, actually physically running.
Well, yes, I am. But this week, I don't have to run as much, so that's good.
Well, I came in and just like I didn't realize how fit you were because you didn't. I usually see you in a tie.
Right.
But town we can see your abs, your deltoids, and all that kind of stuff. So we have a fit mayor. I'll have you know that. And
Thank you very much.
And that's a good thing.
Thank you. Well, I think also elections make you fit, and I happen to be one of those guys that goes door to door. So you look especially good just after the election. Speak to me in about 6 months after all the holidays and everything, and you'll probably see a different looking mayor. So anyway,
so we'll do the before and after.
That's correct.
Somehow I think you're being humble though,
that's right,
Tim. But you know this is a special occasion that you just got through with probably a very active election time frame. And congratulations!
Thank you very much
on your victory.
Thank you.
And I guess the first thing is how do you feel? And what's the sensation of having another opportunity to affect the city in a real positive way?
Well, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and this is a time period to be extremely thankful about a lot of things. And I'm very thankful, and I'm thankful that I have another opportunity. I have another 2 years, or I've been given another 2 years by the voters of the city of Oxnard to affect change in the city, number one, and number two, make Oxnard a much better place. And I've always taken the attitude, Peter, that did not, nor will I seek any kind of public office position for the sake of the position itself. Mm-hmm. The position itself is really a means to an end, and the end is getting things done. Mm-hmm. And it's affecting change, and it's affecting public policy. So my real focus is on public policy and what policies can we, as a city council, and can the people of the city of Oxnard, together with the city council and of course the city staff, can we put together to make Oxnard the very best place to live, not only in Ventura County, but the state of California.
Mm-hmm. And you know, just being from a media sense, I've learned a lot during this election, and I realized the abilities for you to get along with some other council people is really key. What do you think are going to be some of the behaviors or some of the skills you're going to bring to collaborate and to be able to get along and to agree to disagree but move forward?
Well, I would say that my first term, starting 2 years ago, that we had a relatively young council in terms of the time that members have spent on the city council. And so now there's 2 years now behind us, and there's the city council is not only a lot more experienced, our individual city council members a lot more experienced as individuals, but now collectively we're more experienced. And most importantly, I think, we have a city manager, Greg Nyhoff, who is just unbelievable, the things that he's already accomplished, and where he'd like to take the city as the chief executive officer of the city of Oxnard. And that's something very important, Peter, really to talk about, that I try to convey this to people, that, it is important that people vote. It's important about who people select, and it's perhaps even more important that people select people not based on who they like, but on people, on what they stand for, what they represent, and their ability to get something accomplished. But make no mistake that if you can elect anyone, and if you don't have, in the context of city government or municipal government, a strong CEO, a strong leader that actually runs the city, then oftentimes it has a negligible effect on who you actually elect, because you can have all the ideas in the world, you can be enthusiastic and thank people and do all these things, but if you don't have a CEO that takes exactly what the council wants and charges forward with that, then things don't get done, and people oftentimes. And I understand this. They can become impatient. They want to see roads paved. They want to see progress. People want to get back to work, and so that's why it's very important. So I think we're going to work very well together over the next 2 years. We just had a very close city council race where a city councilman incumbent won by 10 votes.
10 votes.
And
Wow.
that's amazing. Out of, say, 12,000 amongst the two candidates, 12,000 votes, 10 votes is unfathomable that an election can come down to 10 votes, but that's really what elections can come down to sometimes.
Right.
And we saw that too on the congressional race with Julia Brownlee and Jeff Carell.
Yes.
4,000 votes or something of that nature separated these two candidates. So after $7 million, 3,000 or 4,000 votes is what it came down to. So I'm really excited working with the city council. I think we have a lot more experience working together. We have a great CEO of this corporation, of this corporate municipal entity, and I'm excited about it.
You should be, as I am excited also. And just point that, I don't know if I mentioned names, but to have a race where it was decided by 10 votes, I almost think that those people who so-called didn't get into to positions are still in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow, because we interviewed all them, I realized we have some very talented people who are surrounding you.
Yeah.
And do you ever feel like it's like, when Phil Jackson came on, he got all this star, he had all these resources. Do you ever feel like that? As kind of, I'm saying, you're the coach. You have Greg Nyhoff, who is one of the tops. Met all your city council people. This is a winning team. Did
Right.
you comment on that?
Well, it is, and I think, and that's exactly what the city manager is focused on. And it's interesting that you have focused on this kind of parallel with athletics. Is that I was asked recently by a person that was hired by the city manager to evaluate city operations.
Right.
He asked me what my concerns were in ending and what it is that I'd like to see come out of the process that he's involved in it with. And I said, well, I want to see a team put together that is the best team possible, that is going to take the city of Oxnard to the World Series. That's exactly what I told him. And I said, if you put that right team together, we know we have the right coach. But, and again, the mayor and city manager and other council members kind of all rotate sometimes in that coaching position. But you put together this team and you set a goal and say, this year we're going to go to the World Series. I want to go to the World Series, and that's really what I'm interested in doing. So we do have a lot of talent. A city manager right now is sorting through that talent.
Yeah.
And as you well know, sometimes people come off the bench in the context of basketball, and even in a competition game or a playoff game, and they can outplay the starting players. So it's important that we have the A team, and we have those who I won't call the B team. They're also A team members who are just, maybe their time isn't right now to be in a certain position, but it's just a question of time before they get on to making and helping the city make decisions.
Right. Now, and if anybody's offended by athletics examples, we're sorry, but I just keep on going on, meaning that in the end you have the team, but your audience wants to see wins. They don't want to hear about injuries. They don't want to hear this. And then even the fact that sometimes your starters will somebody will come off from the bench and be your leading scorer. Do you see it that way? And that's why I kind of put an emphasis on the people who possibly didn't get a position, but now can affect the city. Do you see that happen?
Well, we're seeing it happen now. We have several staff members that the city manager has placed in key positions that he determined within a very short time period were stars. And he even refers to some people as rock stars, which is interesting.
I like that one.
And he's put into these positions. He saw their potential, and he's put them into the positions, and they're really excelling. So absolutely, and it takes a time to build up a team. Right. So it doesn't happen overnight. So the new city manager, Greg Nyhoff, has been on board since I believe June 1st.
Yes.
And so it takes years to build an organization. And arguably with some of the things that Oxnard has faced in the last couple of years, it takes a long time to revamp the organization and address issues that he has determined, and we've discussed that there's a certain degree of cultural change that needs to take place. And so Oxnard, again, is unique, and 10 cities in Ventura County, and some of the things that happen in Oxnard don't happen in other communities.
Exactly.
And so he is now, Greg Nyhoff, is kind of really sorting through that really getting his bearings, getting his feet firmly placed in ground, and then getting that team together to really make some progress.
Yeah, and so I see in some ways from my viewpoint, you have two roles, although there's several, but the big ones are your relationship with the city manager and making sure that Greg Goff does his job and keeping him accountable. But then you're also kind of like the poster person for the city, and that's what people come to the city council meetings, and they give them hopefully some praise and some criticism. But those relationships are key. So what's the typical, what do you envision the relationship between you and Greg Nahoff? Is that a lot of just dialogue, collaboration? I mean, what do you see that being most effective in your communication with Greg?
Well, I think to start with, he knows that it takes building a relationship with all 5 members of the city council. So I think he spends a lot of time, doing that. The 5 members of the city council collectively are his boss. He reports to the city council.
Right.
And so I think he invests a lot of time in all the council members. And I think he sees that, the mayor does have a unique position, especially in a city like Oxnard. Most cities throughout this state of California, have mayors that are rotating mayors. So every 2 years, the city council will select a person that will serve as mayor for the next 2 years. And in Oxnard, it's different. The mayor is directly elected. So it probably gives the position a little bit more attention and arguably more authority, perhaps. And I think my working relationship with him is really good. We meet a minimum of an hour a week, but we speak on the phone quite often.
I bet. Okay.
And but he's sensitive to all the needs of the city council members, and he knows that there's a joke in the business of government that city managers, if you have 5 members of a council, they have to know how to count to 3.
Right.
But I think Greg's attitude is more. I need to count to 5. It's very difficult to make everyone happy all the time, but I'm not going to be a person that shows favoritism to one person or another. I'm going to try to meet the needs individually of the council members and collectively.
I think that's a good point. And one of the things I always connect with is where I connect with you is, and I said this to another council person, I said, we have in common that our wives are smarter than us. And I've
absolutely.
heard just a little bit about your wife, but it's just, we didn't get a chance to interview in terms of who you are, but I know that you have a wife who is smarter than you, as I say.
Absolutely.
I have met your empowered daughter, and I'm going, my gosh, the Flynn gene in an empowered female, that's power.
Wow.
So
yeah.
I did get a chance to meet her. But
Well, and you've hit on something because I have 3 daughters and a wife, so I'm surrounded by.
Oh my gosh, you're powerful.
Yes. Well, I don't know how powerful I am. In fact, I feel like I'm number 5 on the pecking order when it comes to power.
That's
so
power.
I tell everybody, outside of the home, I'm mayor of the city of Oxnard. At home, I don't know who I am, but anyway.
Well, we'll tell you. It's just, and you also have a father who was very historical in Oxnard, so you're almost like it's like you are. You earn the right to be a leader, but it's just kind of like you have the genetics and you had a role model who I'm sure you got a lot of. You want to comment on something maybe you learned?
Oh, absolutely. So much of who I am as a person and what I've done and what I seek to do is based on the foundation that both of my parents, my mom and dad, gave me. I grew up with my dad being a county supervisor and going through the election cycle approximately every 3-4 years, of course. And it's just like I tell people, if your family owns a small market, well, the kids work in the market, right?
Right.
If your family is involved in real estate, well, somehow you're involved in that. And it's the same thing when you grow up in a family where you have a father that is in politics. And so, but it wasn't just elections and the process of those, which I really enjoy, and my parents still really enjoy. They were very instrumental in helping me get reelected. But it's also, in particular, both my mom and dad, but my dad in the context of public service, what he represented to people. I think he was successful in his job because people felt an authenticity about him. They believed that he was honest, and they believed that he's a smart man who had a sense with people and how to take ideas and that interaction with the people and translate that into public policy. And he was especially sensitive to people who are more disadvantaged. and those individuals still have never forgotten him. And the bottom line is that he set examples for me that are life lasting.
That's incredible.
Yes.
I mean, you couldn't ask much more of a leader. You got empowered women, what, 4 of them surrounding you?
Yes.
You have history, both of a mom and dad who raised you, right?
Yes.
And does the word name Finn mean like leadership quality? I mean, have you ever studied that?
No, I know that in the United States, culturally and historically, Americans are fascinated with the word dynasty, a family
Right.
dynasty, right? And maybe because of my dad's longevity, he ran for the first time in 1972
Okay.
and was elected, and I was 13 years old, so just between 8th grade and freshman year when that happened. And I think just having that longevity then it means something, I think, to a community, and people find a comfort, I think, in both a name and a reputation that goes with that name. And God forbid, I was like any other kid. In fact, probably a little bit on the rascal side, and that's always difficult when you have a father in public office.
Oh, yeah.
You're under the public eye too, and there's famous stories about people kids whose parents or fathers are in politics, and the kids go off and they get into trouble. So I probably got into my share of trouble, but I went to Catholic school, and it was pretty strict. No, it was strict, and I needed that. And my dad also had a very firm hand. And I needed that too. I didn't like it, but I needed it. And, so that has a lot to do with who I am.
Well, that's really incredible. And, I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of the show. We just hope that people who get a chance, will get a chance to see who you are and feel a lot of confidence in what's going to be happening in this very near future.
Okay.
So having a chance to cover it, had a chance to meet the players. We're at a turning point now in Oxnard, and I'm really excited about it.
Thank you.
And it's nice to actually
Peter.
get a chance to talk to
Thank
the
you so
person
much.
who's going to lead it.
Thank you so much.
So with that, Tim Flynn, Mayor of Oxnard, and Peter Godinez, KDY TV, your ambassador. Until next time.